Thank you very much. So, Professor Chia and all the eminent scholars and all the scholars in the audience, I'm very happy to be here, especially at the invitation of Professor Upik Pandi and Professor Mishra. At the inception, I would like to say that I'm not a historian or an archaeologist, but I have a keen interest in studying Odisha, and this is my fifth conference in Odisha, and in India more than 25. Okay. Oh, excuse me, it's not my one. Okay, I'm going to use some slides. So let me talk about the civilizational exchange between Kalinga and ancient Sri Lanka, then Ceylon. Okay, yeah. So, does it work? Why? Yeah. Here. Sorry? Yeah.
PPT का help कीजिए. No, this is not the PPT. This is different.
Oh, sorry for the technical issue. Yeah. Yes, my topic is civilizational exchanges between Kalinga and ancient Sri Lanka. Yes. So, Toshali and Kalinga Nagara, the earliest recognized center for Kalinga was at Toshali and Kalinga Nagara, that is Suspalgra, near Bhubaneswar. So, Toshali was the capital of Ashokan in the 3rd century BC, and Kalinga was the capital of Karwala, the ruler of Kalinga. So Karwala, yes, the Roman historian Pliny the Elder refers to this, the central Odisha near under Karwala's successors. So Ceylon and Kalinga had strong exchanges. These exchanges are matrimonial, religious, cultural, and political. They flourished about 1700 BCE to 500 CE. Okay, the Abhayagiri monastery, which is famous in Sri Lanka, had deep connections with Kalinga. The Mahavansa, the great chronicle of Ceylon, and Deepavansa, the chronicle of the island, described the first king. Vijayan arrivals. As you know, Indian Prince Vijaya came with 700 followers, entourage, from Singhapura, which is in Kalinga, in the 5th century BC. He settled in Sri Lanka and founded the Sinhalese race, although it's controversial, that is the general acceptance. Then Manimekala mentions Singapore as the capital of Kalinga. So Mahavansa, the great chronicle of Ceylon, says Vijaya defeated the Yaksha tribe, one of the tribes which were existing among the 4. So Yakshas were one of the natives that existed on the island, Yaksha, Naga, Deva and Rakshan. So Dr. Kandarpa Patel states that Odisha had the same 4 clans indigenous clans. Prince Vijay was banished from India by his father, and he embarked from Singapore, which is in Kalinga. So he arrived in Sri Lanka, took control, and became king of Tambapanni or Tambrapanni. His followers established their rulership in villages, and they established colonies. So Vijayan's succession. A minister of Vijaya named Anuradha founded a village called Kolon, the ancient name, and the village name was after him as Anuradhagama village. Later it became Anuradhapura, city of Anuradhapura, and that is the first kingdom of Ceylon. So he sent a letter to Singapore. So when Vijaya married a native king, and he had two children, and he wanted a royal heir blood to become the king of Ceylon. So he sent a letter to Singapore, Kalinga, inviting brother Sumitra to come there. But at the time, Sumitra was very old. So he sent his youngest son, Panduvasa Deva, to rule Sri Lanka. So after death of Vijaya, and his successors actually had the ties, and the ties with Odisha continued. So cultural, matrimonial, economic, political interactions remained strong. So therefore the purpose of this paper is to highlight, expose at some level the historic relations, exchanges between then Ceylon and Odisha. Okay, let's talk about matrimonial relationships. So I collected these evidences from literary sources and archaeological sources as far as I could. So Biswajit Pradhan or Pradhan states that the Sinhalese and Kalinga royal families had a long history of long matrimonial relationship with Sri Lanka. So in the 10th century CE, King Mahinda IV of Sri Lanka married a Kalingan princess and took her as his chief consort. King Vijayabahu I, founder of the Polonnaruwa, the second kingdom of Sri Lanka, also married a Kalingan princess named Tilokasundari. King Nisankamalla, originally from Kalinga, who was a pure Kalingan lineage, became ruler of Sri Lanka, and he made Kalingan lineage and named and also married a princess queen named Subhadra Devi and made her his chief consort. So yes, so patronizing Buddhism, Nisankamalla is remembered as one of the greatest kings of Sri Lanka and promoter of peace. So he was actually chief patronizer of Buddhism. So he restored ancient city of Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka's first kingdom before Panduka Abhay. So he installed 78 gold glided Buddha statues at Dambul cave monastery, which is known as Rangiri Dambulu Vihara. Rangiri like Lalitagiri. Okay. So he remained. So this, he remained the site of. So he renamed this site Rangiri Dambulu Vihara. Now it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So Galpotha inscription mentions that Nisankamalla is Malla's Kalingan origin. Some scholars refer to this rule as the Kalinga era in Sri Lanka. Now, strong friendships and religious and cultural relationship. So, Dahata Vansa, that is the great chronicle of the Buddha's tooth relics, shows very clearly that the strong ties between King Guha Siva of Kalinga and King Mahadisena in Sri Lanka. As you know, facing invasions, King Guha Siva secretly sent his daughter Princess Hemamala and son-in-law, Hemamala's husband, Dantakumar to Sri Lanka. So Hemamala was hiding the tooth relics in her hair and brought to Sri Lanka. It is one of the most respected sacred things in Sri Lanka, and is after 16 years it was exhibited in Sri Lanka, and there was a large crowd of devotees. So in the following centuries, Buddhist viharas, stupas, chaityas were constructed. So in the 4th and 5th centuries, there were major architectural and literary developments. So that's it. Then spread of religion and culture. Kalinga played a key role in patronizing, supporting, fostering Buddhism in Sri Lanka by gifting the sacred tooth relic. That's the most important thing. So Mahavansa also notes that Vijaya's entourage, 700 followers, included potters of Kalinga, potters from Kalinga, pottery industry, which Sri Lanka had great influence. So in 2nd century BC, Venerable nun, let's say 3rd century BC, nun Sangamitta, the sister of Arahant Mahinda Thero, and the daughter of great Ashoka, brought the Bodhi sapling from Bodh Gaya to Sri Lanka, the right sapling of the Bodhi tree, where Buddha got the enlightenment. And she was accompanied by artisans from 18 crafts from Kalinga. So that had a great, the beginning of a great cultural revolution in Sri Lanka. 18 types of craftsmen, artisans. So crafts like pottery, lacquer work, drum making, wood carving, jewelry making, and handlooms were among them. So the Kandyan dance in Sri Lanka and Kannadi Nacha of Odisha both narrate Ramayana, the great Hindu epic. So invasion of Kalinga, although we had a lot of good influences. So according to military history of Odisha and by Ramesh Prasad Mahapota, and even according to Mahavansa, the great chronicle of Ceylon, in short, Kalinga Maga, general from Kalinga, came to Polonnaru and destroyed Polonnaru entirely, devastating all the Buddhist stupas, and he had a most disastrous kind of war there. Okay, then expansion of Kalinga military power. That's Ashoka, I think I should skip that. Yes, maritime interactions. This is very important. So maritime interactions of ancient Odisha. So Kalinga expanded its maritime trade relations, cultural relations, mainly after 3rd century BC. The history of Kalinga generally begins from this period in Sri Lanka. So by the time of Ashoka, Kalinga had already established maritime position and navy to resist Magadhan forces. So under King Karvela, the Odishan ruler, Kalinga became a major power spot in eastern India around the 1st century BC. The Buddhist Jataka's tales, the previous tales of the Buddha, and Vritakatha and Kautilyan Arthashastra. Kautilya's Arthashastra mentions Kalinga's ancient maritime relations. So diverse interactions with Ceylon and foreign lands. Sri Lanka preferred Kalinga for both maritime trade and marital relationships. Kalinga maintained many prosperous seaports for trade and commerce. These ports are vital, very important centers for commercial, cultural, and political life. So these ports served not only as export hubs, but also mediums of spreading culture and civilization. the people of Kalinga were driven by a spirit of adventure and colonization. They aimed to spread their religion and culture while establishing colonies and kingdoms, especially through commercial and political ties. So population pressure in parts of India led to migration to foreign lands. One is Kalinga. As a result, Indian culture led to migrate into Sri Lanka. So, yes, so these Jatakas, Sanka Jataka, Samudra Jataka, Mahajanaka Jataka, these Jatakas very clearly describe the traders traveling from Kalinga to Sri Lanka. So royal lineage between ancient Odisha and ancient Sri Lanka, as it was mentioned, Mahavansa records Sinhalese race, although it's controversial, but general acceptance that Sinhalese race started from Vijaya, the first king of Ceylon. Actually, Mahavansa starts from the arrival of Vijaya, advent of Vijaya, from eastern India. So, okay. So then advent of Sinhalese. After a long voyage, as it was said, so Vijay landed near Puttalam and he happened to identify the island as Tamba Panni or Tambra Panni. Okay, so there's a story regarding that. And the Vijayan dynasty, Panduvasadeva and 30 followers landed at Gokanna, the present day Trincomalee, and enthroned at Upatissa Gama. Upatissa was one of the generals. Gama is village. Okay, so Chulavansa mentions that Singhapura are legendary for Ceylon. Okay, so okay. Now the pilgrims and traders. So pilgrims from Ceylon frequently travel through Kalinga's ports to visit holy sites in India. So this is about the pilgrims. The main sea route for pilgrims and traders ran from Tambrapanni, or that's Ceylon, linking to Pataliputra, India. Okay, so Chinese pilgrims fly and travel by boat from Pataliputra to Ceylon using Kalinga's maritime routes. So in conclusion, yes. So I like to say that an ethnological study of the Sinhalese race reveals that a strong South Indian influence actually came into being on Sri Lanka with culture, especially Odishan culture. So rituals, beliefs, practices in Sri Lankan villages closely resemble practices and cultural resemblance in Odisha. So to strengthen ties between modern Odisha and Sri Lanka, it is suggested to revive, enhance, re-establish through cultural, religious, educational, tourism, trade, and academic exchange, art and architecture, and history. So it's hoped that Odisha and Sri Lanka will rekindle their historic relationship, further strengthening India-Sri Lanka ties. Even today, so we have many names in Sri Lanka. Palit, we say Palita. Kumar, but here in Sri Lanka we say Kumar with addition of and Upendra, that's same. So Ramanayak, we have a lot of Ramanayaka. I have one friend here called Sunil Patnayak, and my name is Ratnayak. So we have actually here Ratnagiri, Lalitagiri, and in Sri Lanka we have Milagiri, Siyagiri, Singhgiri, Rangiri. So if you just put name Ratnagiri and remove Giri and put Siri, that's my name, Rathnasiri. So that's how even the cultural ties, even modern Sri Lanka, we have lots of ties. So I wish all the authorities may have concern on reviving especially the cultural ties, economic ties, religious ties through tourism. In Sri Lanka, most of the people wishing to go on pilgrimage to Buddhist sites go to Buddha Gaya and Sanchi, India. So they have in their minds only Sanchi, Buddha Gaya, like that. So I hope that they will also add Kalinga in the pilgrimage. Thank you very much.